Last N7 Day was perhaps one of the most exciting moments for me this year, and it likely was for most of you guys as well. Not only did we officially get introduced to some of the folks leading the next Mass Effect development, but we also got a couple of more sneak peeks of what's next. Now, I've already covered the main illustrations that we got on N7 Day, and in my last video I actually managed to squeeze in a small theory, where I surmised that this mass relay looking thing is possibly a ship or, well, a mass relay that can transport itself. Today, however, I'm coming at you with another theory that could explain what this thing possibly is. And trust me, it's gonna be a doozy. However, first we have to dive into some extra content that was released on N7 Day that I haven't talked about yet. Say what? There's more? Oh heck yeah, there is. The first thing I want to hop onto is something that I brought up on the community tab. You see, Bioware and EA didn't just sell merchandise in the Bioware Gear store, they also partnered up with other online stores. One of these was a poster of the Citadel that's currently being sold over on Sanshi, and thank you to Kala Elizabeth for sending this my way. Now, looking at the poster, it does seem like the Citadel is still hanging around in the Serpent Nebula, which is where the Citadel is located before the Reapers move it to Earth in Mass Effect 3. And if we read the description on the store page, it does indeed seem like this is a poster of the Citadel either before the Reaper War or that it was moved back to the Nebula after the war. It is also very possible that this is just a poster that's meant to showcase the Citadel before the war even started. However, what throws me off here is the round thing in the middle. While I at first thought that this must be the Citadel Tower, I realized that this part right here is just that. This round object could therefore be one of two things. A, it's the Crucible, which sorta would make the most sense since it was docked in just the same way in Mass Effect 3. Also, if this is the Serpent Nebula, then it would mean that the Citadel has been moved back from Earth. Or B, the round object is a planet. And if it is, a first guess would be that it's Earth. But that doesn't make much sense if the Citadel was moved back to the Nebula. Or it could just be, well, nothing. And the poster just has no significant meaning whatsoever, considering it's just merchandise. But before we move on, take a look at this. At the bottom of the poster, it says distributed by order of Subcommittee on External Relations in Friendship Toward All, Peace Eternal, and the Brotherhood of All Sentient Life. Now this is very interesting. Peace Eternal is not some common phrase used in Mass Effect, and the Brotherhood of All Sentient Life almost sounds a little culty? Is that the right word? And when I read this, I really got some heavy synthesis vibes, because the wordings of these quotes emphasizes that there is peace between all sentient lifeforms, which would include both organic and synthetic lifeforms. However, this may just be the Council's goal after Mass Effect 3, no matter what ending you chose in your playthrough. Now, all of this is highly interesting in my opinion. And to make things even more mysterious, we have another piece of art representing the Citadel. And thank you again to Kala for sending this to me. Now, this concept art right here was sneakily uploaded on the Bioware blog post during N7 Day, so we know that it's related to the next Mass Effect. And I apologize for the low resolution here, as it's sourced directly from the Bioware blog post. And while it may not seem like much at first glance, if we look closely, you can actually see a lone ship that's flying over one of the Citadel arms, which I could only assume is our new ship teased on the official poster. However, what I find most strange is that the Citadel seems completely dead here. There are no lights anywhere on any of the arms, and it's suspiciously missing their big round thing in the middle, that possibly being the Crucible or a planet. Speaking of which, we see a planet to the right here, so it's possible that this is the same one we see on the merch poster. The Citadel is also missing the tower, which means that this could just be an early rendition of the Citadel, or the Citadel is simply being rebuilt after Mass Effect 3, and perhaps this is why it looks like it's completely offline. Okay, so now I want to dive a little bit deeper into the big one we got on N7 Day. Ah yes, the surveillance footage of the so-called mass relay under construction. As I mentioned earlier, I theorized in my last video that this is likely a ship since we can actually see an assigned ship captain to the bottom left here. But let's not stop there. We know that this video is supposed to be surveillance footage, and we can clearly see a small ship that's slowly disappearing into the center of the relay. The distorted sound during the video was also revealed to be a conversation between Liara and the Geth, and Liara's voice does give off a hint of panic when she says, "How could we miss this?"
Like the seat. How did we miss this? Exactly. The Council will be furious. Although they should know by now not to underestimate human defiance.
The fact that she also says the Council is going to be furious means that this relay construction is connected to something that the Citadel Council won't appreciate. Now, going back to the material we got on N7 Day 2021, we can now absolutely say for certain that this poster hinted at some very big things, the Geth-shaped crater only being one of them. Of course, there was the ship and the crew that are walking towards said crater, but if there's one thing that I think we need to ask is why there is a crater here in the first place. We know that it's important since there are both Geth and Quarian bodies in and outside the crater, and Liara's crew are walking towards it to investigate. And this N7 Day we got the distorted video together with the 4K image of said relay construction, meaning that this could also be very important somehow. This is also bolstered by the fact that this very image was something that Bioware showcased in their book, Stories and Secrets from 25 Years in Game Development, meaning that this relay construction does seem to have a bigger role than we think, simply because they've shown it 2 times now. Now, put on your tinfoil hat, because I'm gonna reveal my personal theory on what I think is going on. So we know that Liara is working with the Geth for some reason. We also know that the Geth and the Quarians have been attacked by something or someone, which is evident by the poster. Liara and the Geth find out about some huge revelation while we see a small ship that resembles the SFX ship, said ship possibly infiltrating the relay construction to either gather information or sabotage. Meanwhile, the relay construction might actually be a ship. What's more, the coloration on the font saying MR7 is suspiciously reminiscent of one infamous organization that Shepard contended with throughout the trilogy. Ah yes, Cerberus. Now this may or may not be Cerberus building a mass relay ship, but one thing I have a very strong feeling about is that this construction won't be primarily used as a ship. Why? Well, look at the crater. Now back to the relay, then back to me. Then back to the relay, then back to the crater, then back to me. Are you thinking what I'm thinking here? Here, let me remind you.
This recruits is a 20-kilo ferrous slug. Feel the weight! Every 5 seconds, the main gun of an Everest-class dreadnought accelerates 1 to 1.3% of light speed. It impacts with the force of a 38-kiloton bomb. That is 3 times the yield of the city buster dropped on Hiroshima back on Earth. That means Sir Isaac Newton is the deadliest son of a bitch in space. Now, Serviceman Burnside, what is Newton's first law?
Sir, an object in motion stays in motion, sir.
No credit for partial answers, maggot!
Sir, unless acted on by an outside force, sir.
Damn straight! I dare to assume you ignorant jackasses know that space is empty. Once you fire this hunk of metal, it keeps going till it hits something. That can be a ship, or the planet behind that ship. It might go off into deep space and hit somebody else in 10,000 years. If you pull the trigger on this, you are ruining someone's day, somewhere and sometime.
Yes, what I am proposing is that not only is this a mass relay that can transport itself, but it's a weaponized mass relay that can move around the galaxy. Can you imagine just how powerful a weaponized mass relay would be? Simply just destroying one releases the energy of a supernova, which wipes out entire star systems. Imagine one that's even bigger than a standard relay and that can transport itself across the galaxy. Imagine if something like, oh, I don't know, Cerberus had something like this in their arsenal. A weapon that they could use to start wars between other species from across the galaxy. Basically like a sneaky Death Star. Of course, this is just speculation, but the more I look into this, the more I'm starting to see a bigger picture. Something or someone is trying to disrupt the current peace that the galaxy is enjoying from all the different species working together. Why? Well, to get to the top of the food chain, of course. Or if it's Cerberus, it's simply to safeguard humanity, or both. And we know humanity is defying the Council from Liara's words. Could this be it? In any case, let me know what you think in the comments below. And as always, have a great day. MrHulthen, signing out.